Hey everyone, today on Nashville we'll talk about Deacon, Maddie and Juliet, and the bomb that Scarlet dropped. Tune in.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
It's taking me down, take me down.
Hey everyone, welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV Nashville. We are talking about Season 5, Episode 12, and it was called Fire and Rain. I'm your host, Violet Kanian, and I'm joined by these gorgeous ladies.
Hey guys, I'm Lacretia Lyon, so you can always find me at LACRETIALYON anywhere on the internet since there is only one.
Hi everyone, I'm Marisa Serafini. You can follow me on Twitter at SeraphiniTV.
Awesome. So this was a pretty good episode to be the mid-season finale.
Totally.
I thought it took the show like on a direction finally.
Yes.
What did you guys think?
Yeah, that was the thing, is I almost felt like this was the bookend to Rayna. And I feel that it'll be sort of a different show, a different feel when we come back. And I like that that was the way that they went. Because if we just kept dragging on as much as, Rayna was the character of the show, the main character, a big part, but we have to move on.
True.
Yeah, I completely agree with that because for the majority of this episode, it was sad. And they're still grieving, understandably so, and rightfully so. And I'm glad at the end, not to jump ahead, but like at the end of the episode, the tone shifted to something more happy. It was kind of lighter. It was more happier and like filled with hope. And like you said earlier, it's like we're going on a new direction now without obviously Rayna.
We've had a few weeks of tears. And we had a little bit this week, too. So I'm happy. You're totally right. There's hope now, and we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, Erica in the chat here, though, is asking, anyone else still have tears in their
eyes?
Yes. I did up until, like, the sort of happy ending, except for Scarlet's announcement.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we were getting worked up watching it, but I think near the end, when we were getting lighter emotionally, we started perking up a little bit.
We'll talk about Deacon in a little bit, but that scene with him breaking down, woo.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
So let's start with Zach and Will. I kind of like them as a couple. I'm kind of digging it. What do you guys think?
I like them.
I'm still like really against it.
Really?
I'm just not feeling the chemistry there. I mean, I understand. I think like Will's too nice and Zach is just way too, I don't know, business driven. He's not, his emotions aren't there. He thinks like a very analytical way, and I don't know if he can open up emotionally, and I don't think he's a good fit for Will.
Interesting.
See, I, was glad that they went this direction with Zach because I actually really liked him, even though he was kind of creepy, but I kind of like creepy. Because as I say, my Superman is Superman Returns. I like a little bit of a creep stalker, Clark Kent. But yeah, that's what I liked about Zach, and I was so glad when they brought out, like, oh, he and Will. Well, now we get to keep him around.
I know, it's like every episode we're like, is he good? Is there something shady that's going to happen? And every week we keep waiting. I'm hoping that nothing happens because I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, I like this dude. He's cool. And maybe he was just a really big fan of Rayna. But then even now that I'm saying it, I'm like, there's got to be something creepy.
Well, and too, like, a lot of people are fans, and it seems kind of creepy, but, like, you see him, he's grieving, too, but he has to be the business guy. So that's why I like that Will was at least there for him, because he loved Rayna in a way, too. But he still has to think about all the other stuff, and like he said, he goes, I'm the only one who can think about this, because this is the future of the kids, this is the future of your career, all this. So it's good to sort of have that, and and we have Avery being like that as well. But yeah, there's a few comments in the chat too. Pay Paradise misses Kevin. I know we all do. He was cute.
Yeah, I miss Kevin, and that's what I'm saying. I still love Kevin so much that I don't want Will to be with anyone else. Yeah, darn it.
Interesting. I think Zach is really cute.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't know. I'm not sure of his his real name, but he's a really cute guy.
Oh, I'm not denying his looks. I'm denying his chemistry.
Okay. What did you girls think when Zach brought up the girls to Deacon? Did you think that was crossing the line, or was it appropriate to get the message across?
I think it was both. I mean, it was insensitive, yes, but it was enough to get Deacon actually motivated enough, or at least to deeply consider now doing it. So
Yeah, I'm on the same path as far as it being a little bit both, because I mean, Zach has to think about all these things, and he's at least taking it off of Deacon in a way as much as he can, so that's great. But yeah, to mention that, it's like sore subject.
Do you think he was pushing Deacon too quickly? Like too much pushing for him to finish the album in like this time?
Well, I don't think we have any idea of how much time has
I was
passed, so
gonna
it's
ask
kind of
if-
hard to tell. Yeah,
I was gonna ask if you girls knew exactly how much time, because watching it, I was like, are we a week away or after, or are we a couple weeks?
it seems like it's still very sensitive with everybody. I don't think it's really like too much pushing. It was more so how he was pushing. And I think that was the thing that was just rubbing me the wrong way. I think, yeah, understandably, you got to remember, like, he is trying to run a business. There are now in a big debt that it's like, yeah, I get it. That's how Zach is thinking. But again, it's the way he went about it was very insensitive, and it just made him, as a person, look like an ass.
I think having Bucky on his side was kind of like kind of trying to show Deacon, like, okay, I know you don't know me, but you know Bucky, and Bucky wanted what's best for Rayna. He wanted what's best for Highway 65. So I like that Bucky was kind of like on his side.
Yeah, and I like that we still have Bucky around, because to be honest, Bucky's reaction to Rayna's death was probably my favorite, because I like how he just went off and just cried by himself, because, you know, much like Lynn is with Juliet, they're family. They've been together for so long in this business relationship. You know, he loved her too. Just like, I mean, Zach is a fan. I feel like he's throwing himself into this to sort of like get away from that grief. Yeah.
Interesting. I like that. I like that. Speaking of pushing and all of that, managers, Maddie and Juliet, what did you girls think about that dynamic duo?
I've always liked those two together, because I think Juliet is good for Maddie in certain ways. To have another woman around the same age, but way more experienced, obviously. I think it was good. It's always good because I think Maddie brings out a more sensitive side of Juliet that we all kind of love. And I'm glad, like, the biatch crazy side of Juliet is kind of like dying down, and she's maturing.
For now.
Yeah, she's maturing. But again, it's very true to character how Juliet was going about all these appearances with Maddie. It didn't feel not Juliet, you know?
Yeah, and that's what I love about Juliet is Juliet deals with her stuff. I guess, like me, that's probably why I like her, is like, you know, you just gotta keep pushing forward. You know, you can cry on your pillow at night. Like, and that's what she's pretty well teaching Maddie. And I think that that's what you need. I mean, Rayna was probably like that too. That's what she needs to succeed. And Maddie is not afraid of success like her Aunt Charlotte. You know, and that's the thing is like, you know, the Juliet Scarlet mess, I actually liked them sort of bringing out that rivalry again. Because, yeah, you know,
Yeah,
it's
I
a
forgot
different...
about that.
Yeah, it's like the strong woman versus, I mean, sorry to say, but the weak one, and the different perspectives. It's like, because I get you both love Maddie, but Juliet wasn't making it about Juliet. And, you know, she was being there for Maddie in the way that she really needed it, in my opinion. And that's the thing, is you've got to seize that moment.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, well, my thing is just like, well, what's more important right now, family or career? Which that sounds like a terrible question, but I think that's what Maddie has to face. Like, what should I be focusing on right now?
And that's really the question that every woman has to ask herself. And that's the thing, is at Maddie's age, being that she is such a young woman, shouldn't even be thinking about family, even though, you know, she should be thinking about Deacon, her sister, you know, her family, but at the same time, she's not a mom. And this is her time to shine, and she has to see it, because, you know, Juliet, I wouldn't say she's on her way out, but yeah, she's becoming this more mentor role now that she's a mom. And it was odd, though, that they didn't mention Juliet's connection to Maddie about the addicted parents. That's what I thought she should have said instead of her connection with Rayna, because that's why her and Maddie became close in the first place, was Juliet knew that Maddie was dealing with stuff with Deacon like she had with her mom. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I like that. I didn't even think about that connection that they would have had. Do you think it's interesting? I think from what I remember from last season, Rayna wasn't too excited about Maddie going into singing so young. And Juliet's kind of pushing it, and Deacon was kind of all for it, like whatever Maddie wanted. Did you think that was a little strange? Because it's not what Rayna wanted?
I mean, but also, like, again, a lot happens in a year. Maddie wasn't seeing someone. Maddie was, like, just, she did music for fun. She was part of a musical family. And it's understandable that Rayna, because she was still top of her career, is just protective of her own family. But, not to sound mean, but, like, now that Rayna's kind of out of the picture, no one's really stopping her other than herself.
True.
Because even Deacon was like, go to New York if you feel that's what's best for you. So, really, no one is stopping Maddie from blooming her career right now.
Yeah, and I saw Rayna's point of view because stuff, had happened to her, and even Juliet, had talked about, like, she even did with that horrible Layla we won't even mention, about what happens to young women. But Juliet is now there for Maddie, and I feel like Deacon trusts Juliet to stop those things from happening. Because she was sitting there a little wary of even Trevor Noah, but, like, it's like, no, they just wanted her to sing. It's like, oh, okay, they're not weird.
Speaking of singing
Yeah.
and weird, did you think it was weird that they asked her to sing that song at the party? Because I thought that was
Yeah.
very strange and awkward.
I think it was
Yeah.
inappropriate, but I understand, like, yeah, she's talented. They just wanted her to sing. I loved her lines, like, go check it out on YouTube.
I
Yeah, that was
love
funny.
that. I thought they were
I'm
going to
like,
pull it
yeah.
up. I thought it might have been even worse if they pulled it up and be like, watch the performance and her breakdown right on camera. But,
I thought
Yeah.
that Trevor Noah, he's great, but I thought that was maybe not the best ideal platform for Maddie to be having these type of interviews.
I thought that was an odd choice, but I'm guessing it's because Viacom owns CMT.
That's
but
exactly what I was thinking.
yeah.
It was like Viacom, Comedy Central.
Yeah.
It
it
makes
all ties
sense.
in at the end,
Yeah.
right?
That's the industry. You
I
guys.
love Trevor Noah, but yeah, it would have made more sense if it was, say, like Harry Connick Jr. actually made a lot of sense
love
because
that.
he's a
Cool,
musician
'cause
too.
he's
Yeah,
country.
Love
yeah.
him.
Yeah. He was fitting
Yeah.
Comedy Central, not so much,
Yeah.
especially for a situation that's
Right.
Not
so far
comedy?
from comedy.
Not comedy.
And that
That's
was
why I say it was weird.
yeah. And that's the thing is, even if it had been one of the late night shows, it would have still been odd. It's like the Daily Show was
It's-
maybe the weirdest choice, but it could have been, not great with the Jimmies.
Right,
the
yeah,
Jimmies.
yeah.
Pick
Too much
anyone.
humor.
Yeah.
Country music, like we have country artists perform constantly on the Jimmy shows.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
It
Best
would have been great
shows
if
ever.
it was on there. still.
Yeah.
So let's move on to, okay. I wanted to bring up Avery because I know you're a huge fan of Avery.
Oh,
and Jonathan Jackson you were mentioning. And it's hilarious because we always talk about how we hated him in the first season. And now he's literally the hero of the show. And we're like, yay, Avery.
That's because
So good.
it's Lucky Spencer, guys. I mean, that's the reason. I mean, I love country music and I love Jonathan Jackson, so that's what brought me to it. But yeah, I was so mad at Avery in the first season too. I even quit watching. But then once he got with Juliet, someone's like, no, they fixed it. Because yeah, I mean, Lucky's not like that.
Yeah, and I think he was the perfect person because I even wrote in my notes like early prediction Avery's going to produce the album, and sure enough, at the end of the
It
episode,
happened.
he took the reins like a good producer would be. Like, we're gonna do this, and he did it in a respectful way, not to overstep or like do it Zach's way. He did it as a true artist and a true fan and person who actually respects Rayna and the family and her music.
Yeah, and like he even
So
said,
good.
yeah, he's like, we need to be there for Deacon, not I'll just surround
Not
him.
ask
to-
things
yeah.
of him.
It was funny
man.
though when he went to Deacon and said, do you need anything? Can I do anything for you? And Deacon's like, there's a situation with Zach, and he's like saying everything, and then Avery at the end was like, so can I do anything for you? He just poured his heart out too, dude. But
That's
he's
dudes.
yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
I think it was just great timing too because he talked to Deacon before he told off all the people in the house. I'm like, yeah, you go, dude.
Yeah, Pay
What a
Paradise.
man.
Yeah, and then Pay Paradise says Avery rocks. I like that. And yeah, that's the thing is like Avery took charge of the situation just like Juliet did. And isn't it interesting how they were probably the two most messed up characters from the beginning?
Right.
Now they got their crap together. Yeah.
See maturity.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And
took them a
we didn't see Avery talk to Juliet too much this episode. But what do you think he may have thought, or what do you think the situation was with him when he sees Juliet take Maddie? Do you think he probably thinks it's a good idea for her to go on?
what did he say to Maddie the last episode? Good luck.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what he would have said, but I think it would have been something supportive because you gotta remember, you gotta look at Juliet and Avery both in this episode. They used their talent and their industry skills for good. I mean, Juliet used her experience to help manage Maddie, and Avery used his producing experience to help produce this album. It's like, so whatever they did, it was for their career in a good way.
Yeah.
So.
Very true.
Yeah, it was so good to see them really come together and do these things for these people. Because, yeah, as I say, they've come such a long way, and they're my favorite characters. So anytime they have them and you don't want to strangle them, it's great.
Can we take a moment to talk about how gorgeous Juliet was in this episode? I feel
Oh,
like she's
yeah.
getting prettier and prettier as the episodes go.
for sure.
Like they're doing something with her makeup or her hair, but
And I think that's the
She's-
thing because her hair was pulled back the whole
Yeah.
episode. It seems like just a more natural beauty. She's just there and exudes and radiates greatness
yeah, and happiness.
and happiness. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and she went through some depression after her child. But as you see, I mean, her husband's 7 foot tall and she's like 5 foot. Like, she's going to go through some changes. But yeah, she looks so good. It's like, where do you go, Hayden?
I know,
I
right?
wanna go.
She's gorgeous.
Yeah,
but
must be
sorry, I
working.
had to say that because I was watching the episode. I'm like, whoa. But going back to the show, Deacon, he went through a lot this episode. He's been going through a lot recently, obviously. But how do you feel about the way he handled the album situation before Avery stepped in?
It was very Deacon and very human. I honestly couldn't have seen him handling it any other way, and I was so glad that they haven't even looked at a deal of alcohol, nothing, and that's great because I was like, let's not get back into that storyline. If they had a relapse and this was like maybe the first time, it'd be fine and it would make sense. But they've had too many relapses with Deacon's character. I'm so glad that they haven't gone that route.
And if he doesn't pick up alcohol after what happened, then I think he's good.
Oh yeah.
I like the way he went to go grieve about it by himself. He tried not to get the family involved, but also, reading Rayna's journal, watching the video, because, like, he was truly in love with Rayna, and I think this is the only way he could grieve was to still, in a way, have Rayna part of his life.
Yeah, and again, I always love when I see an actor acting in scenes by themselves. I mean, whether it's slapstick like Bruce Campbell or like Charles Esten, who, if you guys know, he started in improv. Like, that's who I knew him as Chip from Whose Line Is It Anyway? So this has always been such a departure from the person that I know. And it was just like, wow, he's so good.
He could do comedy and drama.
Yep, he's pretty brilliant. I was actually not happy with his character. I was like, oh gosh, he's being so stubborn. He's being such a jerk. Like, I get it. You're going through so much. But again, this is a business. Like, you have to give them what you promised. And then when he was talking to Avery and said, I'm being stubborn, I'm like, he knows what he's doing.
He's
He
self-aware.
redeemed himself.
At least he knows.
Do you have anything else to add about Deacon?
I loved how he came around at the
Yeah.
end. Because I actually wasn't sure if he was going to. I kind of figured everyone else was going to help, but the fact that he came around shows he's also moving on as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like that what made him come around was hearing Rayna say it in her own words on the video that Zach had given him. And I like that we had that video because it was showing stuff that we've been seeing and leading up all this filming, and to actually see it and that be the thing that gets Deacon, it's like, oh yeah, that is what she wanted. That was good. Yeah.
And the ironic thing is he was so against this video, and him and Rayna were
Right.
against being filmed, but ultimately that ended up saving him.
Right. So what you're saying is Zach saved Deacon. In a weird way.
He helped.
He helped.
He helped.
We'll give him that much.
And I helped.
So Scarlet has, I don't know, she really pissed me off this episode. She's wanting to be the, like, hero and be there for them. And I was actually writing, I crossed it out, but I was writing, oh, she just wants to be wanted and wants to be needed. And then when Maddie called her to be like, I can't do that, I'm like, crap, they do need her.
Well, do they?
Do they, though?
Like, do we need her? I mean, I don't mean to be mean. And too, in the beginning, when she's like helping Deacon and helping the kids, I was just like, oh, I don't hate Scarlet right now. But of course, she can't help herself. Scarlet is literally the worst.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
You said it. Well, the thing is, like, Scarlet can show a different side that other people can't, or like a more supportive side. Because we saw Maddie actually call her. She needed that soft, supporting, calming voice, whereas Juliet maybe couldn't. So there is a purpose for Scarlet. I think the way she was attacking Juliet was just catty.
Right.
Well,
And
yes. Yeah.
And that's what was annoying. Not like Scarlet herself, because she does have good sides to her, but the way she was attacking Juliet after everything Juliet has been through, it's like, girl, look in the mirror.
Right.
Well, and that's the biggest problem with Scarlet is the least self-aware person on the show. As you see, as contrast to her Uncle Deacon, I know I'm being stubborn. With Scarlet, she's like, I am like the best person ever. I've never done anything wrong. Like, I am super, like, I can totally judge everybody else.
to whisper it.
Oh God, I'm super judgmental, even though I think I've had sex with more people than any other girl on the show at this point. But that's not what this is about. But yeah, it's just like she's so judgy and she's so smug and
Yes.
like.
That's the word.
Yeah, that's the thing is I just want Juliet to slap her once. Like, that is what I've wanted since day one of the show is for Juliet to slap that
Girl
smug
fight.
look off her face.
Girl fight.
And she's a great actress because I think that this is the reaction they kind of want us to have. Kind of be like, okay, get over yourself. You're not the best person in the world. Juliet is trying to help, and she was kind of being like, well, no, I'm going to be the helper. You can't help. It's me.
Right.
Well, and that is just, we all know that Scarlet, and I think that's why she's so annoying. But yeah, that's the thing is she made it about her. And it's like Juliet and Avery both, the two most messed up people since the beginning, and even Deacon, they're not making it about them. You are probably the least affected person here. And I don't mean to be mean. I know she was close to Rayna, whatever. But you're the least affected person in this whole group.
Right.
You need to chill. And I think that's why she thought she was good, but it's, again, get it, girl.
But also, yeah, you talking about like being really selfish, and the fact that she used this family and the grief to help her avoid her own problem, which we'll get to. But the fact that like she didn't even want to go on a tour because the family grief, I don't think that was a strong enough excuse.
And
No.
Juliet kind of called her out, like, you're scared of success, but doesn't mean everybody else has to be. And it's like, whoa, she has been terrified of success. What is wrong with you?
It's like,
That's
testify,
true.
Juliet.
Right?
Like,
Yeah,
I'll be the gospel choir behind you in that line.
Exactly, because Scarlet really didn't have that fame. She had her music video, and that's like the most fame she's ever
Right.
gotten for a hot minute, literally.
Right.
And that's it.
And she never really wanted to be famous. It kind of like fell on her lap. That's why she's telling Maddie, you can wait. No, honey, the music industry is not gonna, just because like it happened for you when you wanted it to happen, doesn't mean that's gonna happen.
And that's what's wrong with Scarlet is Scarlet has been handed everything in her life. Even when they tried to write that story about her mom, it's like, I'm sorry, like the way that the character's written, that story, honestly, I never found it believable, even though it happened. I'm just like, you are not someone who was abused. I mean, emotionally, just because of the way that she reacts to things, and it's all about her. And then everything's fallen in her lap, but she still acts like a victim. I mean, I could talk all day about how much I hate Scarlet, but Erica in the chat has something else to say. It, like what you said, it gave her something to focus on other than her own issues. Gave her a little place to hide. Again, making it about herself.
But that's so selfish. That's an adult that should not be uses someone else's pain to hide your own.
Well,
And when was she ever there for Maddie and Daphne before all this happened?
Exactly.
I don't remember them being close.
yeah, with Deacon, I saw
Yeah,
it because I've seen her be there, and that's the part that didn't annoy me. But with the girls, it's just like they barely know you,
Right?
even though you've been around. At least, and two, that's why Avery made sense with Deacon when you think about it, because it's like he has been the one constant in Deacon's life because he dated Scarlet when he was younger, and they've been around each other. I mean, other than Bucky, that's probably the person he knows the longest.
That's
Yeah.
true. Very true. All right, so Scarlet dropped the big bomb at the end. This was, I think, somebody, I don't remember which one of us called it a couple weeks ago or last week, but somebody called it that she's going to be pregnant, and we're not going to know who the father is. What did you guys think?
I'm not surprised though, because
Yeah.
I think it was either probably Whitney or myself, not to get myself right. But it's like you sleeping around with one guy, and then immediately go to another guy. Yeah, you're going to get pregnant. We've seen the storyline too many times in television shows, not just this
And in
one.
real life.
Yeah, in real life, but just like it's not surprising whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this
She
is
kind of deserves it.
yeah, exactly.
Like, karma is a bitch.
And this is such a soap trope, and I know a lot of these people come from soaps, so that's what was so funny. And it's like, you know, it's not going to be Gunners,
Aw.
and depending on if the show ends soon or not is whether the baby's going to live or die. I can always, and that's sad, but it's just like, you know, I've watched these shows my entire life. That's what happens. Is it's never the guy you're with. And depending on how long you're going to be on here is what happens.
Poor Gunner. He keeps getting kids dropped in his life, taken away. Sorry, you're not the daddy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is Gunner can be a little bit annoying too. That's why he and Scarlet kind of work.
Perfect together.
But at this point, he's too good for her. And I'm like, no, drop her.
Yeah, cut your
Yeah.
just cut your losses. Honestly.
Yep. Any reactions from the fans about the big bomb? I
Not
like that
yet,
word. I'm going
yeah.
to keep using bomb.
Well, it was a bomb.
Yeah,
It was
like
like
a bomb.
last minute.
We
Like,
saw it, like we should have seen it coming, but once we saw it, we're like, man,
Yeah.
it hit us.
Yeah, we should have seen it coming because we knew that this episode was about bookending Rayna, and Scarlet always has to make it about herself.
I think that was said perfectly.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Oh man, any other thoughts? We didn't really talk about them coming together for the song at the end,
Oh
what
my
the
goodness.
album.
It was so good. I literally in my
Genius,
notes,
right?
It was just like all caps goosebumps. That's it. That's it.
I think this was the first time they sang at the end that I didn't cry in the last couple
Oh.
weeks. I guess because I was finally in public watching it. But
It's been an emotional ride, definitely.
I think it was a great song though. And the album is duets, but why not have everyone that was literally part of Rayna's life be a part of this album? It's just very fitting.
It's
yeah,
so
it was.
perfect.
Yeah, it was so sweet. But I just hated like the first thing he walks into is Gunner and Scarlet. I'm like, couldn't it have been the girls or something sweet? Or like Juliet. I mean, hell, I don't know if Bucky could sing. Just anybody else but them.
Well, I mean, I think it makes sense
Yeah.
for Scarlet and Gunner because they have been together. They are like kind of a couple in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, those two are a pairing. They are a duet group themselves. So
True.
it makes sense that
True.
a duet group would sing on an album that is full of duets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that part it makes sense. And two, they're kind of like the younger version of Rayna and Deacon. Like,
Or trying to be.
yeah, they're like the off-brand, like generic brand. And Pave Paradise says, I like how the cast got together as a group. We haven't seen that much before. So, yeah, that's true.
true.
And I don't think we actually have a full cast song.
Yeah, I want to
And
see that.
I want to hear and download this humongous song from all of them.
Yeah, I would
It's so
totally
good.
buy that album, like the Rayna and Deacon album.
Absolutely.
That would pretty
Absolutely.
genius on the labels part.
I'm glad the girls sang as well.
Yeah, I'm glad Daphne sang
I know.
because
Yeah,
she's
what the
adorable.
heck?
Felt so bad for Daphne in this episode.
I know. Like, she's literally the
got the
cutest kid
shaft.
ever. Like,
Seriously, she is.
She-
anytime
Love
she
her.
cries, I cry too. Because I'm like, I just want to
So
hug her.
real.
Yeah.
She's so
Amazing.
good.
I love just watching her see her sister go through all this, and she even asked the question that all of us audiences like.
Finally,
Yeah.
somebody
What
brought
about
it up.
me? You know, and or like, why didn't I get it? It's like, yeah, because you're part of this too. You were on the stage with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
You
I'm
were on the
glad.
stage
Yeah.
with Maddie. Everyone saw you as well. Yeah, it's just unfortunate, but okay, yeah, maybe I'll save that for
Yeah,
predictions.
David.
I'll save it.
And two, as frustrating as that is, because I love little Maddie and I love them together because they kind of remind me of me and my brother. I'm like,
Aw.
it's sweet. Every time they sing, I get a little, oh. But the thing is Daphne is way too young to be dealing with this. So at least we're not having to go through that part because, I mean, Juliet was too young and she has all these horror stories. So, like, it's
She
kind of
didn't have
good.
proper guidance either.
True.
Yeah. And then
They do. That's the thing.
Yeah, they have
like
a
these
lot.
girls actually have the proper guidance and people to help them actually flourish their career.
Yep.
oh yeah, and like, you know, back when Alanis Morissette was coming up, I mean, she even has songs about how horrible that was.
She's had a great career.
Yeah,
Yes,
great
she did.
career.
Yeah.
An angry album that made her go to the top.
But she was a
But it was
teenage pop star in
realistic,
Canada.
It was realistic.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into some predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So we saw some interesting scenes in the trailer for next episode, which we don't really know when it's coming back, right?
Yeah, it didn't list a comeback date. I can maybe throw on Ep Guides, which is pretty reliable, and see if we can figure that out.
Yeah, if anyone
real quick.
knows
Yeah.
that's watching, let us know in the chat or tweet us if we
Gonna
can't
go
find
on
it.
hiatus. Which I
Yeah.
think that's actually a good stopping point because again the episode did leave us on a fairly
Yeah.
happier note, so I'm actually okay. If it left on like say 2 episodes ago when Rayna died, and we're like, what? Then I'd be angry.
Yeah.
But
There's
a
a lot of direction coming
Yeah.
coming for the
I
future
would love
episodes.
to see Deacon have his own solo album because they're always pegging on like Deacon, where's your career? You were always standing next to Rayna. Well, Rayna's not there anymore, so you're literally on your own. It'd be great if he had his own solo career and Avery produce it.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I like
and then
it.
also Maddie was saying she wants to start her own album. I think she's gonna start her own album with Maddie, or with Daphne.
Daphne.
Like those two have their own duet.
Yeah, I
It
would.
can't just be Maddie because
Yeah.
I'm gonna get really upset if it's just Maddie.
Poor
It's like, come on, you're always singing next to Daphne too, so have them do a duet album.
Yeah, I think that would be a way better idea than like where Maddie by herself, because I feel that the way that Maddie has matured in these last couple episodes, I'm actually starting to like her character again. And I think that the best parts of Maddie are when she's with Daphne. So I would love to see that, just because too it will sort of still keep Maddie as, you know, a child in the eyes. If she does her own solo album, they'll start sexualizing her, and it's just she's not old enough for that yet, despite what they think. You know.
Well, the thing is, Maddie's 17. In a year, she's gonna be old enough to make her own decisions, and we know
Yeah.
Maddie's kind of like trying to be her own independent woman. So by the time she hits 18, I feel like she's gonna get a little bit more reckless.
Yeah, I don't want to see that again because we've already seen it too many times. So that's why hopefully they go a different route, just because it's tired. Just like Deacon's drinking was tired, and
Right.
they've gone a different way. But yeah, like you said, Avery producing an album with Deacon totally makes sense, especially after the line that Avery said about
What can
all
I
of
do
our
for you?
songwriting comes from pain. So I feel that he will be the one to sort of coach him through, like, you know, put your grief out on words, and then they'll be best friends, and it'll be awesome.
It'd be so
Yeah.
great though. 'Cause
I would
Avery
love-
can sing
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I would love to
It'd be
see
great.
scenes with
Yeah.
them together. And about Maddie and Daphne, I love them together. I love their voices are freaking angelic. They're amazing. But I do think Maddie is at a age where she can't. If they were like 14, and if Maddie was 14 and Daphne, she's like now she's 13. I don't know, but they have like that big age gap where at certain ages they can't, they can't be together. So I think that Maddie's gonna go off and be kind of like a more tamed Juliet.
I would like that.
I could see that, yeah.
I think Juliet managing her is going to be great,
Yes.
though.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
It's going to be great.
I think it's so genius of the writers and the creators of the show to take this in this direction, take the show in this direction, because a couple weeks ago we're watching, we're like, well, Rayna's gone. What's going to happen with the show? We're kind of going to, she was like, it's like the
Yeah.
star died.
Yeah.
So now I totally see the show, continuing in a couple seasons, I would say. I hope, more than
Yeah.
that.
I think it's also character building just for Juliet, because even in her
Yes.
conversation, she's like, I didn't get to properly thank Rayna, so pretty much atonement
Yeah.
in a way, and to kind of redeem Juliet, just her character itself. It's like the most she can do is like mature and actually help pass that along, pay it forward.
Yeah, and I really like that they're going this direction with Juliet without like throwing her back, because this gospel album, you see the reviews, it's not going to be great, but I feel that this will be a way to keep Juliet grounded, and that's what I like to see. Is I don't want to see, just like I don't want to see Deacon going back to drinking. But Eric in the chat says Maddie is way too good at making bad decisions. So I feel that I might be wrong on that one, but
She's a teenager, though.
she is.
It's
Yeah.
to be expected.
And I think she respects Juliet enough where it's like, if she tells her you shouldn't do this or this is wrong, she's gonna be like, okay, well, you're young enough, you're not like old, and you've been through this, and you are a troublemaker, so.
And I think that's why it's good to have Juliet in Maddie's life, because she'll listen to her, just like she wouldn't listen to Rayna and Deacon,
Right.
you
This
know,
mom
or
and
Teddy.
dad,
Yeah.
this is more of a friend.
And I don't think she would listen to Scarlet in a business aspect either.
To be like, really, what have you done?
Yeah.
Coming from the girl who didn't have fame.
We see Daphne in the trailer breaking down and going missing. What do you guys, any predictions on that?
I hope it doesn't last, because what's so great about Daphne is how she really has dealt with everything so well. It does make sense for her to have a little bit of a freak out, but she's been a pretty good kid. I don't want to see her go down a bad path.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree, and I think just give Daphne an episode, because we've given all these episodes to
Yes.
Maddie. Daphne needs an episode where we can focus on her and what's her issue, how is she dealing with it. She's also part of this. She, unfortunately for her, she's the youngest one. She doesn't really have a voice. She's just an innocent bystander and a lot of crap, which like I understand. But like, give her an episode. She deserves
Yeah,
it.
I
And
agree.
I feel like this is her moment for everyone to care about her in a good way, you know.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is now that she's a little bit older, we can actually start having more storylines
Yes.
centered around just Daphne, and this will be a good way to sort of get into that. And Erica in the chat Kinsey in the chat brings up, they said 2.5 to 3 months or so maybe May or June, because that bad didn't have
Wow.
anything on it either.
Oh, baby,
Summer.
that's a big hiatus.
And Pave Paradise says, do you think Tandy or Teddy will come back?
I hope not.
Tandy, yes.
Yeah, I can see both of them coming back, because they did mention like Teddy
Sure,
coming back.
yeah.
You know,
Oh, maybe
3
after
months.
the hiatus,
Yeah.
3 months.
Yeah.
That works.
That works for real time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like Eric close, and I feel like Teddy and Luke sort of had this thing where you were supposed to hate them, but I'm the person that feels bad for them, because I'm like, they never really did anything that bad. Even
Luke
though
has
Teddy,
my heart.
yeah, Luke is
Luke,
amazing.
please.
Will Chase,
Will Chase,
yeah,
come
like,
back.
Come on, I love you on
Come on
Broadway.
our show. We have a space
Yeah.
right here.
Just for you. But yeah,
Awesome. Yeah. Anything else? Anything else?
I think
I
that was
hope
Good
if like
episode.
if Teddy does come back, is just to wrap everything up. It'd be like, no, Deacon, you have full custody. I'm out.
Bye.
I'm
Yeah.
out of everybody's lives and ours.
He got a conjugal visit by Kimberly Paisley's twin. Like that'd be fun. Like that's
No.
the thing.
We
is
can't
I
have
love
Peggy
that.
come
We
back.
can't have
no.
shit. That's yeah. I know.
She's dead.
That's what I said. Evil twin. It's a soap opera.
I don't want Peggy.
Just 'cause it
or
comes on at
any
night.
semblance of Peggy back.
Yeah, seriously.
You don't
no
love
offense.
Kimberly Paisley?
She's great.
Oh,
in
man.
other movies. but
Yeah.
not that
Brad
show.
Paisley can come back and come back anytime.
Exactly.
He's made an appearance on this.
Yeah, anytime. All right, so this was a great episode, and I think any news? Nope. All right. Where can they find you, girls?
You can find me on Twitter at Serafini TV.
You can find me at LACRETIALYON anywhere on the internet, since there is only one.
And then you can find me anywhere at Violet Kanian. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See y'all later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.